Reporting live from Mercyhurst University, I'm Andrew Bardouche.
I'm Cole Jaskowitz.
I'm Paige Cortella.
I'm Marco Cicchino.
And we're a team, we're working on it.
And today we're going to be talking about the case Lowe versus California League of Professional Baseball.
July 26, 1994, at approximately 7:05 p.m., the plaintiff, John Lowe, was in attendance at the Epicenter baseball facility. John Lowe was seriously injured when he was struck on the left side of his face by a foul ball while in attendance at the professional baseball game at the home field of the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, a Class A minor league baseball team. Lowe is suing the California League of Professional Baseball and Valley Baseball Club Incorporated, which also does business with the Quakes, for breach of duty and negligence.
While plaintiff John Lowe was watching the game, the 7-foot-tall mascot named Tremor touched the plaintiff with his tail. The plaintiff was then distracted and turned around and got hit with a ball, shockingly shattering his cheekbone. Oh, where exactly was the plaintiff seated?
Well, Paige, the plaintiff was seated in the left terrace section, which is located northwesternly of the left field, in direct line of the foul balls that would be coming towards them. Tremor was performing his antics in the stands along with the left field line. The plaintiff was not seated in the protected area, which is a key part of this case. The plaintiff was hereby distracted and turned toward Tremor, and when he turned back, the game resumed, and he saw a ball coming towards his face, and he could not react to it.
Serious injuries resulted from the impact. As a result, on January 7th, 1996, the underlying action was commenced against the California League of Professional Baseball and Valley Baseball Club Incorporated, which does business as the Quakers, who are ensuingly cited as defendants. This case initially used other cases like Knight versus Jewett from 1992 and Glattman versus New York City from 1984 to come to their conclusion.
Some facts about the case that were investigated was that John Lowe had previously attended 2 games at the Epicenter. Therefore, he knew the risk of the foul balls. He also stated that he had witnessed at least one other fan being struck by a foul ball. At this specific time, he did not request to be seated in a protected area, which there are about 2,500 protected seats out of 6,900 seats in the stadium.
The case was then resolved in summary judgment in favor of the defendant. Under the doctrine of primary assumption of the risk, that defendant owed no duty to plaintiff to spectators to protect him from foul balls. Under Knight versus Jewett, defendant had a duty not to increase the inherent risk to spectators at this game.
So now where does the law come into play?
Lowe appealed the court decision of summary judgment, and then it was then reversed.
But you know something, Cole? I'm having trouble with this class, and I don't know how I'm going to study for any of the exams in it. So tell me, what is summary judgment?
Well, summary judgment, it's a court-ordered ruling that no factual issues remain to be tried, and therefore causes of action. And all causes of action are complained and can be decided upon certain facts without a trial.
Okay then, Cole. So we guess that the original summary judgment was made because Lowe's case determined a primary assumption of risk, meaning anyone attending a baseball game assumes inherently there will be a risk of being hit with a stray ball while not sitting in a screened area, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's the first thing here. Second thing, we can also assume here that Tremor increased this so-called inherent risk to Lowe because he distracted him of being able to prevent his injuries.
Exactly, very much.
Remember, this is 1994, and you don't know where that ball is going to land.
Not a single clue.
So, Cole, what is the general rule regarding foul balls and injury to spectators outside of protected areas in baseball?
Well, Andrew, spectators at a baseball game should have some assumption of risks. So to not increase the risk to spectators and a participant over and those inherent of the sport. So foul balls represent an inherent risk at a baseball game. Spectators at baseball games should know that that is an apparent risk. And even though Tremor played a big role in this case, any spectator should know that any little thing inside of a baseball arena should throw them to a inherent risk.
Thank you.
Inevitable.
Therefore, foul balls and other risks at baseball games are inevitable and unavoidable.
So, Marco, did the court find that the foul ball presented an inherent risk in this case?
Well, Paigey, the California Supreme Court has stated previously, in context of injuries to participants, that a defendant generally has no duty to eliminate or protect a plaintiff from risks inherent to the sport itself Tremor distracted Lowe, which forced him to turn around because it's very hard to resist the natural instinct to look around and figure out your surroundings when someone hits you. But was there a trial court error? Yes, there was. Initially, first of all, the court cited Clapman versus City of New York from 1984, which was a similar case in Yankee Stadium. But you can't consider cases tried in any other state at the trial court level. And not to mention, there was an improper application of the doctrine of primary assumption of risk, which you would define as something.
In reference to situations in which an individual acknowledges the risk associated with any activity, but chooses to take part regardless. In other words, the plaintiff knew the activity could possibly result in physical injury or property damage, but decided to assume the risk in order to have fun. Here comes a video of Tremor in his evil antics.
The 4th District of California's 2nd Division Court of Appeals ruled in favor of Lowe, as Tremor increased the risk of him getting hit by the ball with the distraction of his antics. The court affirmed Lowe's trial court error and cited both Knight and Neinstein versus Los Angeles Dodgers, which was decided in 1986, in Tremor assuming the assumption of risk, as costume performer Mark Morninger's actions were not considered an integral part of the game. Because Lowe never assumed a reasonable burden, he was unable to demonstrate a triable issue of material fact, thus allowing the court to not pursue any further analysis. The opinion was written, quote, "Our view of the entire record leads to the conclusion that the defendants offer nothing in the way of either relevant or competent evidence to resolve prima facie the dispositive issue of fact above recited. Thus, they fail to shift to the plaintiff the burden." All right, guys, what are you thinking? Now that we've figured out this case, do you agree, disagree? What do you think should have been done differently? Any thoughts?
Paige?
I think I agree with John Lowe. Even though it was inevitable, he still turned around and got hit with the ball. I mean, you can turn around and just ignore it. So I definitely agree, and I would have sued also.
I'm on the same page as Paige because Tremor increased the risk of a foul ball coming into, or increased the risk that someone would be injured because of a foul ball, and he was a distraction to the fans.
No, I totally disagree with the outcome of this case. I believe that Lowe should have had some assumption of risk going to a baseball game, knowing very well that foul balls can land anywhere in the park, and him having no idea where that ball is going to land. So throughout the whole entire game, he should have known that at some point a ball may come towards him, and no matter what distraction Tremor placed on him, he should have been apparent to the risks that were going to come.
But here's the thing, Cole. I mentioned earlier, this is 1994, so you don't know where that batted ball is going to land. They didn't have StatCast technology at the time, where you could figure out, based on where that ball is hit, what kind of trajectory the pitch had, how fast it was. You have no idea where that ball is going to land. So you can say that everyone in the entire ballpark had some inherent risk. It just so happened that Tremor, the mascot, was fooling around and inhibited Lowe's natural instinct. Because think about it. If I hit you like that, you're probably going to want to look around and see what exactly just hit you. It just so happened that while Lowe was looking back, boom, the ball hits him. And he has no idea. It was inhibited by tremor. As we know now from Neinstein, you don't know where that ball's going to land. So you can't assume anything if you're not aware of your surroundings.
That's a very good point.